Hello, I'm Kads, and welcome to today's video. So once again, it is time to pull some shards. We have the summon rush going on for Strategos Islin, the current fragment summon champion. Now I did cover this in my previous video, the fusion plan for how to get this fusion if you are going for him, and there I did highlight the fact that this is a fairly generous summon rush in that normally, like the best we've seen is that the upper tier milestone here for the upper fragments is around 3,500, but in this case it's only 3,000, or the equivalent of 6 sacreds, and that's what we're going to be pulling today. In addition, we do get some energy, which is pretty decent because there is a lot of dungeon tournaments coming up for the fusion as well, champion training event, etc. But I also am in dire need of a more immortal soul essence. So with that, let's hop over to the portal and look at the current stack of shards. So we have 510 on the ancients, 242 on the voids, and 70 on the sacreds. And once again, we are going to be pulling 6 sacreds today. As usual, I do always like to pop up the mercy tracker that I like to use, which will be linked in the description box down below. I know some people ask about that every once in a while, but if you want the bare bones version of this spreadsheet, you can find it in the description box down below. But we're focusing on the sacreds here where we are not in mercy, but pulling 6 sacreds will put us really close to mercy, and there's always the chance, the 1 in 16 chance that we get a legendary anyways, so not banking on it, but it can always happen. And last but not least, the wish list. Who am I looking for in terms of legendaries? It's been the same for the longest of times, so you guys already know. Say it with me. Just kidding. No. Poison Exploders, so Xavier, Eleanoril in that order, Valkyrie, Molly Tankard, and for epics, we're looking for Crowden, the Blue, and or any more Sylvan Watchers dupes that I have for the Faction Guardians. So without further ado, let's get into the shard pulls. We've got some space, we've got some cash, and hopefully we've got some pretty decent luck. Let's go. Sacred numero uno is going to be an epic, as expected. Ooh, wearing on the Silken. I did forget to cover the 10x champions, but it is a bunch of champions who have increased speed and turn meter fill, I believe. Of which wearing on the Silken is one. I do have her, so she is a dupe for the Sylvan Watchers, which will help fill out the Faction Guardian, so I will definitely take it. I think she has decreased attack on the A1, somewhat reliable, increased speed, turn meter fill on a 4-turn cooldown. Should be a 3-turn, honestly, for an epic, but 4-turn nonetheless. But her saving grace really is that she has a 4-turn cooldown revive of a single target, 50% HP, 30% turn meter with a continuous heal. So I use her for my Faction Wars team in case anyone goes down. I run her at level 50. You don't need to 6-star her. She works fine with that, and I was able to beat stage 21, and I farm currently stage 20. Sacred numero dos, number 2. Here we go. What do we get? Another epic. Yep, as expected. Orden. Oof. He's one of those champions who does have the who can snowball on the A1, who gets an extra turn if he kills a target, and the A1 hits decently hard, but not as hard as like a Canderfon or a Fenax or anything like that. But he can be somewhat annoying in like the really early game arena if someone happened to get him and max him out. He's kind of one of those menaces, but not much else to really say about him. He's annoying in enemy waves as well, but that's about it. One of those champions who's more annoying to go against when he has, like, 15,000 attack in an enemy wave or whatever. But yeah, let's keep it going. Sacred number 3, probably another epic. Yep, as expected. Spider, somewhat of a unique epic who does have the ability to place this big version of decreased defense and the weak version of weaken. So like baby Lydia, but it is on a 5-turn cooldown, and you don't have 100% chance to even place the weaken. So it's a relatively underwhelming ability, and you're definitely better off waiting until you get Lydia or you pull a Venus or a Dracomorph or something like that to really worry about getting decreased defense and weaken together. Halfway through, let's keep it going. Shard number 4, Quattro, and it is another epic, and yes! Finally, the wish list does exist. We got ourselves Crowden the Blue. Thank you. I think he's also part of the 10x as well. But increased speed and turn meter fill with 50%. So kind of the same thing on a 3-turn cooldown. Wearing on, take note. But yes, really good for hard mode Fire Knight, and that's definitely where I want to use him and test him out. So he has a freeze on the A2, 3-turn cooldown, a double chance, 65 chance 65% chance per hit, and then a triple hitter on the A1 that has a 35% chance per each hit to freeze. So double freeze chance, and then more turn meter fill and speed to keep your team running so you can get back to his freezes. Really solid and relentless set, and if I can do that, I will try. I don't know how much relentless gear I have to spare, but on the passive, he also fills his own turn meter by 5% for every freeze, so even more synergy within his own kit to get more turns and cycle through. And he's not super selfish in the sense that he also fills the turn meter of allies and stuff, so definitely helps keep your entire team running as well as himself. As awesome as this is, it is also somewhat bittersweet, because that means that this is the last non-void epic that I'm even pursuing in the entire game, for now at least. So that's a bit of a bummer that basically from here on out, epics are kind of food. But nonetheless, I'm happy because this is someone that I did want. So let's keep it going here. Sacred number 5. We've got one more after this. Another epic, as expected. Ogrein Jailer. Nope, that's the wrong champion. A co-brawler. One of the best, if not the best, single target poisoner in the entire game. Somewhat famous as like an old school clan boss champion, kind of like a frozen banshee on steroids. I don't think he has poison sensitivity. No, he doesn't. But he's one of the like I said, he's one of the champions you can place the most amount of poisons in the game on a single target. So very strong for clan boss if that's what you're demon lord clan boss if that's what you need him for. Otherwise, not too useful. And the final sacred of the evening. Let's top it off with a lovely epic just on the edge of mercy, which is great for the future events coming up potentially. And it is Catacomb Counselor, who is the literal worst. Okay, maybe not the worst. One of the worst ally attack champions, because it's on a 4-turn cooldown, and he only brings 3 random allies, so you're much better off running Farrakhan the Fat. Even though Farrakhan the Fat doesn't join in, he just sends everyone else, so it's a little bit different, but it's just not strong enough on a 4-turn cooldown. So one of the weakest ally attacks in the game. All right, I think that's gonna do it for the shard pull. Let's double check the math here. Yep, up to 3,000, perfect. Let's collect all these except the energy. So if you guys are curious why I'm going for this, because normally, in fairness, I do stop at the 2150, so I'd only pull 4 sacreds and a bunch of mysteries. But in this case, 2 extra sacreds. My strategy here is pulling 2 extra sacreds, because then I could skip 2 of the dungeon divers. Although, I guess I should mention that even though this ends in 2.5 hours, I'm like 300 points away from this, just because I went all the way for the Legendary Tome in the Champion Training Tournament. So I'm probably just going to spend the gems to get this, and that way I can, instead of skipping 2 divers, I'll just skip the middle one, and I'll probably also skip the artifact enhancement that starts tomorrow, so I can save some silver. So a slight change to the strategy, but overall the approach is kind of the same. But yeah, I guess while we're here, let's take a look at the faction guardians, because I think Werenon is new. Yep. And so okay, 8 out of 8. So I just need one more dupe, and then all of the epic faction war or faction guardians will be filled up. So I guess there's one more epic that I might need, and then we can kind of call it a day there. All right, so that's going to do it for today's video. Apparently wishes do come true every once in a while. As always, if you did enjoy this video, then be sure to hit that like button down below, and also subscribe to the channel for more content just like this one. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.